Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 3SSRTV. I'm your host, Peter Tsaros, and with me is your other host, Chad Phillips.
Thank you very much, Peter. Big show for you today from us and the team. We've got everything from music, travel, sports, gaming, street talk, and much more.
Yes, we do. We have a huge show coming up, as you just said. But, you know, I've seen a little criticism about our little part. Apparently, we haven't had enough, you know, sometimes we don't have enough energy or, like, power, or, like, electricity, like spark. We need something to zap us and charge us up. So I brought something to fix this with. I got these cables, and I'm gonna need you to take your shirt off.
Is this Gitmo or what's going on?
No, I'm gonna need you to take your top off. It'll take 2 seconds. Don't worry, they're going on my nipples as well.
So have we done like a health and safety audit on this?
No, I bought these from the servo.
Okay, you bought this from the servo.
Yeah. All right, you know what? I'll get these on Chad's chest in a sec, and we're just going to cut off
hang
to...
on, we didn't agree to that yet.
No, we are. We're going to cut off to music. We'll be back after this.
Hello and welcome to another week of 3SSR Music. This week we got Mikey back. How you going, mate?
Good. My trip was good.
How was it? Yeah, we went to India.
I went to India and it was absolutely amazing. Very hot for my liking though, but got to experience an early summer.
Enjoyed it?
Loved it.
Plenty of curry?
Lots of it.
Lots of curry.
And also gulab jamans, which is Indian sweet. Love it.
Oh, fantastic. Anyway, you've got a bit of news for us, mate.
I do have a bit of music news. Even though I've been in India, I've actually got a bit of news that I've been reading overseas and all that. And the script were actually in Australia recently, and they had to cancel their Caulfield Guineas appearance because the stage collapsed as they were about to take the stage. So their Melbourne show was cancelled. However, they have announced an all-ages show in March to April featuring Labyrinth, who's going to be the special guest too, right there for their Superheroes tour, which is going to be good. Also, Train have announced their Blues Fest side show as well, the Bulletproof Picasso tour. They will be at Hamer Hall on the 7th of April, which is going to be a good show. I've seen both artists, and I'm going to go see both artists again play because the script are amazing live, Train are amazing live. If you love the bands, go see them live because I definitely recommend them.
Well, Taylor Swift has covered Vance Joy's Riptide on BBC Radio 1's Live Lounge. And this is a massive deal, Mikey, because we've seen massive artists on that show before. We've seen Ellie Goulding, Ben Howard, Miley Cyrus, Arctic Monkeys, people like that. So it's a really massive deal. And Taylor Swift's rendition follows tour dates from Vance Joy all over America and an appearance on NBC's Late Night with Seth Meyers. So
and also making an appearance on the FIFA 15 soundtrack with Messer's Mind too.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you said you heard while playing FIFA, you heard a bit of Vance Joy on there. Oh, it's fantastic. Always good news on the FIFA soundtrack. But since the cover, we've seen Vance Joy's 2013 hit climb the US Billboard charts, and it looks like he's set to join Iggy Azalea and 5 Seconds of Summer as the biggest Australian artist to hit America in recent years. So it's fantastic news. It looks like we're getting a lot of Australian artists over there.
We definitely are getting a lot of Australian artists.
We'll sort of claim Lord as ours as well.
5 Seconds of Summer.
Yeah, and they've all done really well over there. So I'm really excited for Vance Joy as a Melburnian as well. And also some big news. This is really sad news from me. Guitarist of Amity Affliction, Troy Brady, has announced his retirement from the band. The announcement came in the middle of the band's US tour, so he's cut the tour off short, he's left. Well, that's it from us. Mikey, earlier this week you went and caught up with George Kalpa. He's got a brand new album. Let's go and check it out.
Welcome to 3SSRTV, everyone. My next guest with me this afternoon is a musician turned filmmaker, but he's gone back to his love of music and has released his first solo album entitled Mode. His name is George Kalpa. George, welcome to 3SSRTV.
How you going, man?
Good, yourself?
Good, right.
As a filmmaker, did you want to incorporate much of your music into the short films that you made?
Of course, yeah. Every film project that I've worked on so far, I've composed the music, done the sound design, and anything to do with sound, I've done that in my films. But when I made this album, it was kind of the opposite way. I thought, look, now I've got all this music material that I want to use.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, back in the medium of film, and that's how the music videos came about. So it's kind of jumping from that back to that, both loves. And the ideas are always, you know, they come from the same place. But the medium that they go onto is the only difference with my projects.
Any plans on going back into the music industry full time, or do you want to continue doing film as well and sort of
Both, man.
both?
Yeah. Nah, nothing, not music full time, not film full time, just both of them together, and just see how they go. When the ideas come, as soon as they come, I just put it onto whatever medium feels right, and yeah, that's why I'll keep doing that. And whatever else, whatever other medium comes my way.
So who was your biggest musical influences growing up?
I'd have to say when I was growing up, all I'd listen to was heavy metal, Metallica, Pantera.
Good names right there.
All the heavy stuff. But in the last couple of years, I was listening to a lot of the 80s, the darker 80s stuff like Joy Division, Pink Floyd I love. There are a few things that I was listening to when I was making this album that I'm sure, if you'd heard that stuff before, you can probably hear it on the record.
Now in music video, Leave the Street Alone, I love the cinematography behind the whole, and the visuals and all that, and the foreign language as well. Tell us behind, the making of the music video, tell us behind, where you filmed it, how long it took and all that, and the shooting.
So when Leave That Street Alone was still a demo, the music demo, it was still just a bunch of ideas. What had happened was I was driving home, going home from the studio one night, and I thought, oh yeah, cool, just listening to it. In the corner of my eye, I saw this old laundrette that had been there forever, and I knew it was there, and I just never paid attention to it. And the music was playing, the laundrette was there, and everything just came together. In my head, I go, that's it, that's the idea. This song lives in this laundrette. So after that, I got in touch with the people that run the place, said, look, I've got this music video that I want to do there, and this was the first music video that I actually ever made. And yeah, that's just where it went from there. The idea behind it was this dude's having a really bad time, and the only way that he can deal with it is just by going for what it is that he knows.
Now you've released your first album entitled Mode, and it's a bit of a multi-genre sort of album because you got a bit of blues fusion in there. You got, as you said, a bit of metal and all that with rock and drums and the guitars and all that. But was there much thinking, you wanted to incorporate both rock and blues in the same album?
In terms of thinking of genres and stuff like that, that really didn't cross my mind. However the idea came, whatever it felt, like maybe it's just a saxophone there, maybe just a little bit of noise or whatever, felt like should be there. And I like minimalism, the album's got a lot of minimalist elements on it, and that's kind of what I was going with for it. No, there was no real do a bit of this, do a bit of that just for the sake of having it. It was more so, let's just see what comes out.
So your new album Mode is out. Where can people go for it? Where can people buy this album?
You can get it on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, iTunes, off my website, georgecalver.com. It's pretty much everywhere on the internet.
And finally, what's next for George Calver? I know you just recently did a launch tour for this album. I was wondering, are you thinking of maybe an Australian tour, maybe just a tour around Melbourne?
Hopefully, man. Hopefully going to do an Australian tour towards the end of the year. At the moment, I'm working on a new EP. It's got sounding very acoustic-like. I'm also working on another film script, actually 2. And I'm also working on music videos for other artists. So I've got a lot on my plate, and I love it to be that way.
You're very, very busy man at the moment. Well, George, thanks heaps for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, man.
As you said, George Calper's new album Mode is out now. We've got all the links on our Facebook page, facebook.com/3SSRTV. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Michael and Tom. Good to have you back, Michael. Hope your trip was great. We've got a big show coming up still, so stay tuned for a little more. And before we press on with the show, because I know we have to continue, I probably should have brought up this with at least the producers, or maybe a doctor as well, because who would have? I mean, because Chad wouldn't do it. Chad wouldn't do it. So
you tried to tackle me down during the break.
I tried. So I had to test it out first to make sure it was safe. And let's just say I had quite a hairy chest before stuff caught fire. There was a few sparks flying. But, you know, anyway, don't
You probably did yourself service there. It's all that. That hair's gone now.
Don't try this at home. I think we should continue the show.
Yes, definitely. Coming up after the break, we're going to have a bit of sports, a bit of gaming, a bit of street walk right here on 3SSR TV. And you're watching 3SSR TV right here on C31. Let's continue with the show. We're going to watch a bit of footy tips with Peter and John.
G'day guys, welcome to another edition of 3SSR Footy Hit. I'm John Donohoe here as always with Peter Seros. And this week we're continuing our theme. We're going along with the team reviews. We're going up in twos now because we're in the 8, so the finals teams, and we've got Essendon and North Melbourne this week. Pete, how'd you see Essendon's season? A disappointing year by their standards, did make the finals, but still haven't won that first final since 2004.
That's right, so it's a disappointing end in the sense that they were 35 points up against North. 35 points up in a final, that usually should get you to the next round. Somehow they managed to lose. So kind of a disappointing finish, but they didn't have that domination all year. I mean, they ended up 7th of the ladder. Good effort, but they were in the hunt. The other teams are in the hunt all season. There was a little while where it looked like they weren't going to make the 8, but then finished strong in a way, losing games to teams like Melbourne and St Kilda. Yep. So they didn't have the strongest season. There was about a month where they couldn't score over 65 points as well.
Yeah, you mentioned two lowlights. They're losing to Melbourne, I think, with a kick after the siren by Christian Salem, and then round 5 losing to St Kilda that no one really predicted. Didn't help their year. One highlight though, they did beat Port Adelaide, and it's funny you mentioned Port Adelaide because that's the home of Paddy Ryder. He's going to move. He'll be on the move there, so that's a downside for them. They lose a couple of young players as well. Hardingham and one or two others have also requested a trade. Elliot Kavanagh. So look, in that sense, it's not great. Bomber Thompson looks like he's going to be moved on out of the club for a new coaching job. Don't know how James Hurd's kept his job.
It's interesting. I reckon it's because maybe Bomber Thompson's been moving out. Hurd is also contracted, so remember they're going to have to pay him out if they wanted to get a new coach in. I think they kept him as more of an up your list of the AFL sort of thing. But James Gwilt was a good recruit.
Yeah, they signed St Kilda delisted the defender James Gwilt. He was signed as an unrestricted free agent, I believe, just a few weeks back now. So he will definitely bolster their defence.
And Dustin Fletcher set to play 400 games. I think he's 7 games away from the 400, so he'll be the third man to do it.
Just got to stay out of the tribunal and injury free. Boomer Harvey, who we're about to talk about, is North Melbourne. He'll also go around and plays 400th next year as well.
Hopefully, if he stays away from the tribunal.
That's true. That's true.
The both of them have had that. They both probably should have reached 400 already. They've missed way too many games. I mean, Dustin Fletcher's played way more seasons than I think Kevin Bartlett that made 400 played 19, and pretty sure Michael Tuck played 21.
21. I think it was in the 20s definitely for Michael Tuck.
So it's a record-breaking, year-wise for Dustin Fletcher.
It'll be interesting because you've got to be very durable in this game to be able to play 400 games.
And a key defender too. He's a key player.
And there'll be 2 in 2015, which is great to see. Now North Melbourne had a good year, I reckon, a better year than everyone thought. I actually picked them to finish top 4. They didn't finish top 4, but they made it to a prelim final, which I reckon for them would be a huge tick. What do you reckon? How'd they go?
Massive tick for them, as you said. I wasn't expecting them to make the preliminary final after where they ended up on finish the season. Brown became really good late in the year. He was a very important player come finals.
Young Kane Turner, an 18-year-old.
Yep. The whole team just did an amazing job. And now that you add players like Jared Waite, who was Carlton's leading goal kicker last year or this season, and Sean Higgins, who we know is a quality player that can play midfield and forward, they're only going to be stronger next year. And hopefully Boomer Harvey can have a full season as well. I reckon 2015, they're going to be a definite top 4 chance.
Yeah, you mentioned a few of those signings, Higgins and Waite, obviously bolstering the 2 deficiencies they needed. But on the other hand, they have lost Levi Greenwood, who was traded to Collingwood, which will be a big loss because we saw in the finals. I don't think he got less than 25 possessions in the 3 finals he played. It's
a big loss, but at the same time, I think the Sean Higgins sort of replaces that role. in a sort of in a way they did get what did they get out of it again? Was it a pick 25?
Pick 28, I think. Yeah,
something
around,
like that.
Around that. Yeah.
Good draft pick, and you're going to pick up a good player from there.
It was part of the 5-way deal to get Beams to Brisbane.
That's right, and remember Robbie Tarrant didn't play a game this year, so next year if they keep him on the list, he should be a very good player come 2015, like he was in 2013.
They've got a lot of upside, and just quickly before we end. Both teams, I want Essendon up, down, or staying the same on the ladder.
I think they'll be around between 10th and 7th again. I think they'll be in between that bracket. I can't see them dropping below 10th.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think Essendon might drop a little bit off next year. A couple of players leaving. The club itself still going through this drugs battle. So I think it'll be 8th. I think it's anywhere between 8th and 12th, a bit the same as you. North Melbourne, I'm thinking very differently. I think North are going to have a real tilt at it again next year, and I think they're going to finish in the top 4. And it's just a matter of whether they can get past those teams like Hawthorn and Sydney. And they beat Hawthorn this year during the year, but... So I think top 4 for North Melbourne next year, definitely.
Definitely they have the potential to make top 4, but when you look at Port Adelaide and their rapid improvement from last year to this year, if they do that again, they'll probably be premiers, to be honest. Sydney are not going to be at the bottom of the ladder. They're going to be hurting after the grand final loss. Hawthorn have bolstered their list during the trade period. They're going to look even better next year. They look incredible. They lost Sewell, who didn't play in this year's grand final, so they still have 22 premiership players, add another 4 or 5 players that have played in grand finals before.
It's definitely going to be tough for North. It's definitely going to be a tough year for North.
Fremantle is still up there as well, so I reckon they'll be 5th.
Many people though did predict that Port was still going to have as much as they were going to have a good season, it was going to be a tough one. So you can never count a team out in this day and age. But I think it's still going to be tough. But North, they're thereabouts. And I think in the coming years, 2 to 3 years, they could be real premiership contenders. So that's all we got time for this week. Next week we'll be running through the next 2, which I believe are who have we got?
The other teams.
Fremantle,
Fremantle and
Fremantle and
Port Adelaide,
I think. Yeah, so they're 4th and 5th on the ladder. Put him on the spot there. That's all we got time for. Thanks for tuning in. Until next week, I'm John Dono. He's Peter Saros. See you then.
G'day guys. Well, I have some absolutely fantastic news for all Australian football lovers. This is absolutely breaking news coming out of England, and we're hearing that the FA is rumoured that the Premier League is going to be hosting some games abroad. Now, there is a rumour that Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester City could be playing Premier League games right here in Australia. Absolutely fantastic. This has come about due to the recent games when these clubs have come over. They played a few pre-season games against some of our A-League greatest. And not to mention, Melbourne City, now being owned by Manchester City, has expanded our league with a tie with the Premier League. So hopefully this comes through. Last time we saw a English Premier League side come out was Liverpool at the MCG. 90,000 Liverpool fans packed the G to watch their boys play. If we can get a Premier League game here in Australia, I can guarantee it will be another sellout. Absolutely fantastic news, and I'll be keeping you up to date on this news as we get more information out of the FA. That's all from me, guys. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Alex. The latest in soccer. Plenty more to come.
That's right. We have heaps more to come, as Chad said, with Street Walk and gaming after the break.
Welcome back to 3SSRTV right here on C31.
That's right, but coming up right now are the Swing Gamers with Ricky Needs and Sean Harron.
Hi there, my name's Sean.
And I'm Ricky.
And we're here to talk to you about video games. And this week we're doing a yearly wrap-up. We're looking at the Xbox One, the PS4 and the Wii U and looking at what made the consoles come forward in these last 12 months. Now, we've had each console from Microsoft, Sony and Nintendo. They've produced some really good titles, some really good first-party titles, as well as some titles which have gone across all three consoles and the other two consoles of the Xbox One and the PS4 just exclusively. Now, Ricky, you've got your Xbox One, and that's the console that you've chosen so far for this generation. So what would you say is your top 3 picks, or say, what do you reckon stands out?
What stands out so far has been, look, Watch Dogs graphically, because it was developed for the next-gen consoles, really, it was, and it came out in the visuals. It did look really, really nice. had some gameplay issues, but as for visuals, I think it came across really well. Titanfall for a really cool shooter experience. I really did love that. It sort of paved the way for this sort of new generation of shooters. Hopefully, I think a lot of them are going to be based around this. And we've already seen with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, they've taken a few of the double jump elements out of Titanfall. So I think it's a true next-gen experience for a shooter. And I had a lot of fun playing that. And I think the other one so far has been Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I've really enjoyed that, and playing the new games on the next-gen console as well. I think it's going to be really good. Looking at Unity especially, it's developed specifically for the next-gen consoles. And from what we've seen so far, it looks absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. So those 3 games, I think, sort of paved the way for what we can expect once the game developers sort of go, okay, we're no longer making games for all platforms available. We're going just specifically PS4 and Xbox One. And I think that's when we're going to see the true jump to next-gen. And that's going to come out pretty much in the next few months.
Yeah, so I reckon the top 3 games for me for the Xbox One, one of them would have been Dead Rising 3. I really liked Dead Rising 3. I felt like it was a step up from the first 2 games as well as the spin-offs. Like, you were able to run around in a town killing zombies instead of just like a shopping mall or something like that. And it gave you a sense of freedom where you could go to wherever you wanted to go, more so than the original games. The original games, you were kind of limited to loading screens and that sort of thing, whereas there's barely any loading screens going indoors and outdoors, you know, for certain missions. Otherwise, you can just run around and just kill whatever you wanted. You can save whoever you wanted. Things were happening in real time, much more fluently than there were in the original 2 games. And I reckon that was a really good step up, especially for a next-gen game. Titanfall was a really good game, except the community just died, which is kind of sad for it, really. I really like the gameplay of it. The mechanics are really cool. You're able to drop down a Titan on top of people. Like, that was all good and fun. And the introduction of the Titans really led it to, you know, would the Titan be more powerful than the humans, or would the humans with their Titanfall guns be able to kill them? And I reckon that it kind of made the gameplay a little bit more balanced, and it made it a little bit more different compared to other games. So I really like that. As well, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. I can't stop stressing this game enough. Please get on it. It's a third-person shooter game. It's not like your standard Plants vs. Zombies, but it's really good. It's really good fun, and it's not just for kids. So you can get in there, you can be a cactus who can snipe from, you know, across the level. It's all good and fun. And I just reckon it's been seen in a not too good light, which is kind of disappointing, but it's on the PS4 now as well, so hopefully people can get on it.
Yeah, I think coming from a mobile platform, it had the issue of transferring across from that to a full-on console game. I think people didn't really buy into it straight away, but I think it's going to get there eventually, and I think I've played it as well. It's a fairly solid game. It's very good fun.
Yeah, I don't think people have quite as much of a grasp around it as they would have hoped and as it should have. But anyway, it's definitely one to watch. Or at least get for me.
Yep.
It's a brilliant online game. Anyway, the Wii U. You don't have a Wii U, but you love the Wii U.
I do love the Wii U.
What games over the past year do you reckon have kind of defined the Wii U and its standing in this current generation?
Is it really hard to guess? It's got to be Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just picking up that game, and we played it day one. We had it, and it was just fantastic. It was just so much fun. It took me back to just when I was 8 years old playing on the 64. Every iteration has that level of fun and just awesomeness about it. And for me, it's got to be Mario Kart 8 and Smash Bros when it does eventually drop, which...
It's definitely a title to watch, but just...
Whenever they decide to release it, yeah. But yeah, look, for me, Mario Kart 8 is the definite one.
Yeah, I liked New Super Mario Bros. U. I like the whole gameplay of that, where you can have 4 players running alongside screen. It's original Mario, but it's 4-player co-op. It's really nice, except once you have more than 2 people, everyone just tries to kill each other and get to the end before anyone else does, because once somebody hits the flag at the end of the level, everyone else has like a limited amount of time to get there, and if you don't make it, well, you don't technically pass the level. So I don't know, it's a nice friendly game, but any of the Mario games, definitely Super Mario World, 3D World, it's a really excellent game, a really good game. It's definitely a must-have for any platform holder for the Wii U. It's such a solid game. It's got so many secrets. It's got all these stars to collect. It's just really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we wrap up, PlayStation 4. You don't have a PlayStation 4.
Not just yet.
I've just recently got my PlayStation 4, so we're going to quickly touch on that, but games definitely for watch for that. Killzone Shadowfall is definitely one to get, as well as Destiny. Get Destiny. Get it on PS4, get Destiny. get Destiny. Sorry, I had to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're all done here for the moment. That's our wrap up for the moment. There will be a little bit more on our website. You can check that at facebook.com/swinggamers. Otherwise, we're done. Back to the studio.
Thanks, guys, for all your gaming updates. Loving all the Xbox One. I haven't played the Wii U myself, but it's pretty good, and I really want to get a PS4, to be honest.
But I hope you enjoyed today's show, because unfortunately we are done for today.
That's right, but if you did want to replay this show or watch some previous shows that you may have missed, you can go on the YouTube channel, which is obviously 3SSR at YouTube. But you can also go on the website, which is at 3ssr.org, and check out some of our radio content.
Don't forget, we're also on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well.
But unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Great show. We'll be back same time, same place next week. I'm your host, Peter Tseros.
And I'm Chad Phillips.
Fare thee well.
Bye.